No, this isn't one of these weird welcome to my bedroom episodes here on Bald Prairie Real Estate. I'm actually out of town this week for our national sales conference. But of course, the real estate news doesn't stop just because I am out of town. There's been a ton of things that have happened this week, September 15th in real estate news. And I've learned a couple of really interesting things for our national sales conference. They're going to impact you as a buyer. One of them being sales information is going to be coming to Realtor.ca. That's going to be very, very useful for those that are looking to buy. The Scotia Bank report that I'm going to talk about says that the Bank of Canada is going to be raising interest rates even more. I don't think anybody's surprised if they go up, but the number is probably going to be surprising. How about the fact that a substantial portion of people in Vancouver are thinking of leaving Vancouver because of how expensive it is to buy a house there? Let's get into all that even more on this week's Real Estate News. As always, I'll put all the links to these articles in the description below so you can check them out yourselves, or if you want to just read through them to get more information. First one we're talking about here is how many people are considering leaving Vancouver because they're not going to be able to afford, or worried they're never going to be able to afford to buy a house in that greater Vancouver area. Well, it was 51% are considering leaving because they won't be able to afford a house. Of course, 18 to 34, they said 71% of them actually said that they're feeling they're going to have to leave in order to be able to afford a house. For those that lived inside the city of Vancouver, it was 61% of them felt they were going to have to leave. Again, the whole Vancouver area was 51%. Now, when they did this same study, I believe it was 2018 when they did it, the respondents, 41% of them felt they were going to have to leave. So that is a substantial increase for people that feel they're never going to be able to afford a house in Vancouver. With how high house prices are there, it doesn't surprise me how many people feel this way. Next article here is from BNN, and this was a hot topic just a few months ago, how so many investors were in the Canadian real estate market, driving up prices, making it unattainable for those looking to just buy a house to live in. And they said, we got to get the investors out of the market so that the end users have a chance to buy a house. Well, that has happened in a lot of markets, Toronto and Vancouver specifically. They're talking in this article specifically about Toronto, how the investor market has pretty much evaporated. Higher interest rates, that's one of the biggest ones that's driving out the market right now. When I'm talking with my friends in Toronto, they're saying, yeah, these investors are pretty much disappearing right now because of how high rates are. They can't make their numbers make sense. So this bump in sales that we actually saw last month, and if you missed my market update from last month, Toronto saw a bump in sales that's primarily driven by end users, not investors. That being said, I was at this conference this week, and there was a couple investors specifically feeling that there's an opportunity for them to jump into the market here. So we'll see how long investors stay on the sideline. Topic number 3 here is Scotiabank and TD feeling that the Bank of Canada overnight rate, which right now is 3.25%, is going to have to go to at least 4% in order to tame inflation. I know there's a lot of people already speculating about what's going to happen in the next rate announcement. I would not be surprised to see rates go up again. Who knows how much? Well, that's anyone's guess at this point, but TD and Scotia are feeling that we're going to see at least 4% by the end of the year and potentially even higher. Next is a slide that I unfortunately only have a really crappy photo of. I'll put it up right now, that I stole from our convention, and that's talking about delinquency rates in Canada. Now, delinquency rates are really important because when somebody's behind on their mortgage by 90 days, that's when the bank is going to start the foreclosure process more often than, in fact, some will start it even earlier, but 90 days is that important one. That's what gets reported back to the government. And when you see delinquency rates go up, that's when you're seeing people get behind on their payments, unable to keep up with the cost of whether it's increasing life because of how high inflation is, or because of higher interest rates due to Bank of Canada raising its rates. When you see delinquency rates go up, that is a very troubling sign for the Canadian real estate market. And as they go up, that's when you're going to start to see foreclosures also increase. Now, during the pandemic, we saw delinquency rates drop. In Canada already, delinquency rates are exceptionally low. This chart, obviously, I'll put it back up here, shows all the way to Q2 2022. So this is very updated information here. I would not be surprised to see this trend start to reverse in the next year or two as higher rates start to catch up to people. But to put things in context, again, we're talking less than a quarter point for delinquency rates. When the United States had their housing crash in 2008, prior to that, 2007, and leading into 2008, delinquency rates were between 5% for 5-year fixed rates and up to 35% for those that were on those subprime adjustable rate mortgages. So us in Canada at a quarter point is nowhere even close to what the delinquency rates were in the United States. And in fact, that low delinquency rate in Canada has held very low for a significant amount of time, especially since we saw the stress test introduced. We haven't really seen that delinquency rate change much from around a quarter point. It's hovered back and forth around there. And actually Saskatchewan, Alberta, which saw some of the most significant price declines in Canada, even Saskatchewan, my home province, only saw delinquency rates get to about 0.75%. So again, nowhere close to those numbers that we saw in the 2008 housing crisis in the United States. And then this last one here is something that is going to have a big impact for those that are looking to buy and actually looking to sell. I'm really excited for this coming out. I was sitting down with a presentation put up by the Canadian Real Estate Association, and they were saying that we are going to start seeing sales data on Realtor.ca, and they're starting to roll this out in Vancouver. I believe right now they're starting that. So you're going to be able to look up sale prices. I'm all in favor of this. More information given to those that are looking to buy and sell, the happier I am. The better that they're informed, the better decisions that can be made. So I'm 100% in favor of this. I want to see this rolling out even faster. As I know more about this, I'll continue to update you guys. But again, this is something we should all be excited about, seeing sales data available on Realtor.ca. This week was so busy with real estate news that I've actually started working on next week's update already. We're going to be talking about whether the Bank of Canada can hit its target of a soft landing. At least one major bank in Canada doesn't think that is a very realistic possibility. And I'm also going to be talking about the lack of homes, the housing crisis that we have here in Canada, and it is continuing to get worse. I've talked about it a lot, so we'll be going more in depth on that in next week's update. As always, if you like this, give this video a like, subscribe if you love keeping up to date on Canadian real estate news, and thanks for watching.